Hello, welcome to the Citrus Garden. If you're new here, my name is Christina. If you're not new here, hi, welcome back. It's great to see you. This is a pick a card reading for the time frame ahead, however long that lasts for you. For these readings, I pick an overall theme using the cards, so we'll get right into that. Actually, all four of these cards came out at once, which I feel like is really good news. We have the rotation card, the Sun. And then we also have Lead and the Alchemical Wedding, which I love so much. So this Lead card, I feel like, is the main point of this theme because it's coming in with a lot of energy today. So Lead in the alchemical process is, of course, like the base material, what it is that you're starting from. But it's also bringing in this energy of Saturn. So Saturn recently started going direct again. So in the last 4 months, it's been in retrograde. So you may have been experiencing frustrations or difficulties in terms of what you're working on, or the efforts that you're putting in are not providing results. I want to say it just feels like the grind without the results. And so what I'm seeing here with the Alchemical Wedding, because as well this Lead card has this XX, which in traditional tarot, the 20th card is Judgment, right? So when I see this, I see this as Judgment, and it's coming in with this Alchemical Wedding, which is so lovely. If you just look at how both have this split screen kind of energy going on, where it's kind of whatever it is that's now that Saturn's direct, maybe, but it's also kind of you're receiving something perhaps that feels like something that you're going to want to celebrate, because what's coming through here is kind of of course, Lead is the base materials, right? So it could be what was coming through with this is you're getting a lot of new material to work with. Right? So if you're trying to create something, if you're working towards a goal, it's you have a bunch of resources now is what's coming through here. A bunch of base materials, a lot of things that is perhaps it's coming through with raw materials, right? So you need to work with it, but I feel like it's a really welcome gift and change, especially because it's coming in with the rotation and the Sun card, right? So this is the Wheel of Fortune. So it's coming through with things are changing, but it feels incredibly with the Sun enlivening. It gives you energy. It provides you with new inspiration, maybe. It's just feeling receiving a lot of base materials to work with. And it's it feels very celebratory, or something very positive, something that you're going to be very happy about. Because it's kind of now you have a lot of things to work with, or a lot of energy, a new energy to work with is what's coming through here. So that's the overall theme. I'm going to go into the individual groups, and the timestamps will be in the description box below. So for group 1, we have the Void. For group 2, we have Sublimation. And for group 3, we have the Blue Temple. So I will hold up all 3 cards so that you can compare, and the timestamps are in the description box below. Hi group 1, welcome to your reading. So the first card out we're going to start with is the Void, which is really interesting because this is what I'm feeling as being the starting material, right? So this card talks about an absence of anything, right? So it could be noise, right? It could be complete silence, or it could just be what's coming through here is that you're actually going into a new place is what's coming through here, and what's in that new place is not that much, or it's that you can't quite see what's there yet. It's kind of because the cards that are coming out here to support that, you have the portal for the Light Giver and the portal for the Living, which is really incredible to me because it's also coming out with this 5 energy. So it feels like this could be a partnership. So this could be describing you and another person, because they're both tens, where it's kind of like you are perhaps moving forward with a particular partnership into some sort of unknown energy here with the void. It's coming out with this 5 of voices, which I often see as being sort of like you and another person are trying to work towards a shared goal. However, there's like perhaps distractions, right? Or like things here that are drawing your attention away. So it could be like fear, or it could be whatever tricky energies that are here that are distracting you from this main goal. And I feel like what's coming through here is, especially with the next card out here, you have the Muse of Inspiration. So the Muses in this deck I always see as being sort of like a challenge that you have to complete with another person, or like some sort of perhaps initiation is what's coming through here, through a challenging in some way, or fiery or transformational process where it's like you're having to walk through some sort of unknown territory with another person, maybe. But again, it feels very welcome is what's coming through here, because what's coming through next, which is really interesting, is this combination of cards. So you have the God of Worlds and the Portal for the Desert, which is really interesting. So this desert is what the void is being represented as, right? Like, so the desert to me just represents an energy or space where there aren't a lot of resources, which is interesting because, as I was saying with this lead card for the overall theme, is that you're getting a lot to work with, but I feel like for this group, you have a lot to work with, but it's almost like emptiness is what you have to work with, right? Like, the fact that there's nothing there is your base material. That's the thing that you're being asked to work with or transform, right? It's like if you move into a new place, for example, everything's empty, so you have to like work to fill it. I feel like that's what this is kind of coming through with. There's not a lot of material. What the material is that you have to work with is emptiness, which is fascinating to me. With the God of Worlds, I feel like it's talking about like your ability to create your physical reality or manifest whatever it is. It is coming through with this table here, which says hard work ahead. And also these cards, the 8 of Pentacles, 8 of Materials, and the Magician, right? So this is that table, right? The hard work, where it's like the Magician having to use all of your knowledge, all of your wisdom, all of your creational abilities in order to transform this emptiness or this space or this desert energy into something that's like very abundant, perhaps, or productive, or whatever it is. And it's coming through here with the 8 of Materials, which is so interesting because I often talk about this card as being sort of like a task that almost seems like, when you first imagine how much goes into this, it feels perhaps overwhelming, or perhaps like too much work, maybe. That's why it's coming through with the hard work ahead, that it is going to be challenging in some way with the Muse of Inspiration, because this card is like transformation for sure, but it's like it's incredibly it has the potential to be incredibly transformative is what's coming through, especially because there's a lot of like Scorpio energy just around right now. This is an energy of transformation. Okay, so anyways, there's something also interesting here, because the next couple cards out, you have here the Hermit, which again is emphasizing this sort of like desert energy of like going into a place where there isn't that much perhaps to work with, and it's kind of like having to find a way in which to almost like create something out of nothing is what's coming through here. And it could be through just like with the Hermit, you may be, this may just be like an inner journeying kind of thing, right? It's like starting from the beginning, or so in like in like the Lion King when Simba like leaves his home and goes into the desert, right? It's like there's not a lot there, but at the same time there's something to be discovered in this Hermit energy as well. Okay, so what's coming out next is you have the Bouquet, which says compliments from an admirer, and then good news, which is really interesting. And then you have this June card, which is coming through as like, because it has the flowers, right? You may be like, while you're in this, perhaps a state of being alone with the Hermit, or just isolated, or there's just a lot of quiet, right? Because the void could also be sort of like an absence of noise, or an absence of distractions, or just quiet is what's coming through. It's kind of like you hear something. Good news, compliments from an admirer, and perhaps from like a spiritual being of some sort with this angel figure coming through. It doesn't have to be that. It could actually be that you're like, whatever it is, you're hearing something, perhaps just like a guide, right? It could be like a new guide, or like your higher self even, or somebody who has a lot of love for you and is trying to show you something good about this situation, whatever it is. And then you have this woman card. So relationship or dealings with a woman. So it could be feminine energy. It could be whatever this represents to you. Could actually be a relationship with a particular feminine energy. Because you also have this Three of Cups. And it's also coming in with this Coffin card, which is really interesting. So this Three of Cups I often see as being a representation of the Mother, Maiden, and the Crone, which is, of course, all of this feminine energy, right? The cycles of feminine energy, or feminine archetypes, if you want to call it that, the Mother, Maiden, and the Crone. Which is interesting, but it's coming out with this Coffin card because these two felt like they were coming in together, where it's kind of like there's something about, so this is more of that death energy, right? The transformation. So it could be that you're moving through these cycles in a different way, right? Like whatever stage you were in, the Mother, Maiden, or the Crone, it's like you're moving to the next iteration, maybe. It could be that, which is really interesting. But it requires like isolation, or having to leave something behind and stepping into an unknown kind of energy. But whatever it is that you're going into, it's good news, right? You may be feeling stressed about it, is what's coming through here with especially because it's coming through the void and the Muse of inspiration. It's like this transformation might be sort of uncomfortable, is what's coming through here. But you have all of this sort of Magician, Eight of Pentacles, a lot to work with. I feel like whatever this transformation is, it's going to bring in a lot of new energy that you will have to work with. But it is going to be challenging in the best way possible. Okay. Okay, group 1. I'm going to leave them short today, so I'm going to end it there. If this reading resonated with you, please like, subscribe, or leave a comment down below. It helps so much. Thank you for sharing your energy with me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye. Hi, group 2. Let's get started with your reading. So you got 2 alchemy cards. I was only going to pull 1, but these came out together. So you have the autumn and the sublimation, and then at the bottom of the deck you have the winter card. So moving from autumn to winter, it's really interesting though, because this autumn card talks about like harvesting abundance, but it's coming through here with the other cards. The scissors, which says disappointment, and then the teapot, which says deep friendship. And it's also coming up here with the prisms and the withering, right? So perhaps disappointment in friendships of some sort, or relationships in general, or whatever it is. But it's coming up with this autumn and the withering card. So it could be whatever it is that you're harvesting. It was like a disappointing harvest. Like there wasn't any fruit that came from this situation, is kind of how that's feeling. So only take this if it resonates for you. If this is not your reading, then pick another group. But it's coming through with disappointment, right? Like it's like they're perhaps having to cut ties here with the scissors, a particular relationship or friendships or a group or community, whatever it is for you, because of this withering energy. Actually, it's like it's something about this situation is actually not beneficial, right? It was actually perhaps taking a lot of your energy in a way that was perhaps draining to you, because the cards that are coming through here, you have the world, cosmos, and the 7 of inspiration. So the world always talks to me about like completion of a cycle. You've ended some sort of natural ending to a particular situation and gaining some sort of new perspective about it. With the 7 of inspiration, it's coming through here as being like having to block out any energies that are like having to use a lot of effort in order to block out whatever it is that's around you. So it could be this relationship, this dynamic, whatever it is, a situation, right? It feels like there's whatever this situation is coming in with a lot of disappointment, or like with the withering card, like it's like all the leaves are gone, nothing left here, time to move on, which is interesting. It's coming through with the lady, and you have the Muse of emotions and the 10 of emotions. So because especially with these 2 cards, right, the back turned, the back to back. So sometimes I see this Muse of emotions as being emotional codependency, especially because it's coming through with like the 10 of cups and the lady card, where it's like this one now is there's no one behind, is kind of what's coming through here. So it's feeling like with this combination of cards that you were perhaps investing in a situation where it felt like a 10 of cups, or it was kind of like, so perhaps emotional codependency where like in order to be in this group, I feel like you were sacrificing some other aspect of your life, is what's coming through here. It's kind of like, I was watching this show recently, where it was like somebody asked one of the characters, like, why did you join this group? And her answer was like, to belong. So it could have been something like that, where it's like, in order to belong into a particular group or friendships or relationships or whatever, perhaps you sacrificed something that you were meant to do or meant to go or whatever it was, or it provided some just aspect of belonging, right? Like community members or whatever. But what's coming up next here is the sublimation card. So there's a lot of energy of like in the next couple of cards of you sort of ascending or separating from a group. Not at all to say that that you are like leaving these people behind, even though it kind of feels like that. And it's not to say that you're better than them or at all, because that's a caution with this card, the Sublimation, is that it's kind of just like there's nothing here for you is what's coming through here with the Withering. There's nothing here for you. So it's kind of like having to leave a group in order to find more abundant energies. That's what's coming through here. So because you have here the Stork, which says news of a birth or new business opportunity. So it could be that, right? Like something to do with your abundance, because it's also coming out with this Fish card, which is talking about abundance, right? It's like having to leave behind a group or like friends or whatever, or a job, a workplace that you felt very comfortable in perhaps, or very emotionally fulfilled in perhaps, but it's kind of like there's no abundance left there for you, so you have to move on to something else with the Stork. What's interesting though, it's coming out with this Claw card, and a really interesting combination of cards. So you have Tower, the animal, Claw, and Forest. So the Claw says be careful, do not take risks, and the Forest, which says muddled, unclear thinking. Because I feel like what's coming through here, especially with the Claw and the animal, is that wherever it is that you're going next, it may feel like there may be a bit of perhaps loneliness. It's what's coming through here, because you have the other cards that are coming through, is that I feel like you're being actually shown the path, right? With this Tower card. It's not the traditional tower, but it is talking about sort of this sublimation of like going up a level in some way, right? Like going up a level is what's coming through here, like climbing some sort of ladder towards abundance perhaps, which is taking you away from a certain group. And but I feel like you're being shown the path, right? You're being shown the path to go in, but there is a potential here for muddled thoughts, and it's coming in with this caution of like, don't stray from the path. Because whenever I see this Forest card, I think about like in Lord of the Rings, when they enter the forest, the caution that they're told is don't ever stray from the path, because once you stray from the path, that's when things get muddled. There's a lot unknown about this situation, and I feel like the only reason why you might do that, here you have the Justice card and the Three of Materials, where it's kind of like this is the path that you're going on with the Justice card. And it's like, it's talking about here, the Five of Emotions coming out next, that, because this card talks about loss or grief or like overwhelming emotions because of a loss of some sort. So it's kind of like you're on this path that you're being shown with the Justice card. It's like you've made a choice to go into a new opportunity or something like that. But because you're on this path alone, it can put you in this state with the Five of Emotions of like feeling overwhelmed, or like activating perhaps a fight or flight response or something like that, right? Like it may be difficult because you're now walking on a path alone that you had been previously with others on, right? So it's kind of like traveling in groups is much safer, but whatever this path is that you're being asked to go on, right, that you have made a choice to travel on with this Justice, it's something that you're choosing to do by yourself or alone, and that can cause perhaps unclear thinking, because it's kind of like maybe there's doubt associated with it, like why did I leave this group, why, like this, there was safety in numbers maybe. But remember here that the portal for the Withering whatever this group was focused on, it's withering. There's no, like, it's like they harvested something, but there was disappointment within the harvest. So it's kind of like coming through, like, metaphorically with a farmer, right? If this group is trying to till soil that is not fertile, right? There's no, like, they planted crops and the crops did not turn out to be very abundant. And so it's like you're choosing to go off and find more fertile soil here with the forest, right, on your own, perhaps, because it's like for whatever reason you're going off onto, like, to search for new land, right? But you have to do it by yourself is what's coming through here for a time. I want to say, I feel like perhaps there will be more abundance that comes through, but because you're coming in here with the winter card, it's like there may be a time of being in this sort of 5 of emotions where it's like there's perhaps a feeling of loneliness as well, right? Here with the tower, there was also this message here of, like, I feel like whatever path you're on is going to be abundant here with the fish, but the path, it's lonely at the top is what was coming through actually for you, group 2. So do not take risks, right? I feel like you are being shown the path towards what it is that you're supposed to be going on. So don't take risks and stay on course, even if, like, there may be sort of like with this animal card, feeling of, like, should I go back? Should I turn back? Should I, like, do something else? But it's like the path ahead is clear for you. The path ahead is clear. Don't stray from it. So group 2, I'm going to leave the reading there. If this message resonated with you, please like, subscribe, or leave a comment down below. It helps so much. Thank you for sharing your energy with me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye. Hi, group 3. Welcome to your reading. So for your alchemy card, we have the Blue Temple, which I love so much. So to explain this one, I'm going to read from this book. It's the Book of Symbols, and the page that I have out here is blue. So I'm just going to read into it just to give you some more inspiration for this Blue Temple. So it says here, blue is not quite of earth, which apart from sea and sky is the rarest color in nature. Given the unearthliness of blue and living as we do below the vast blue heavens, we have colored our gods blue, Knef, Jupiter, Krishna, Vishnu, Odin, and our goddesses too. Blue is the color of Mary's celestial cloak. She is the earth covered by the blue tent of the sky. Blue is linked with eternity, the beyond, supernatural beauty, religious transcendence, the spiritual and mental as contrasted with the emotional and physical, and with detachment from the earthly. When this celestial blue appears in everyday language, its symbolism becomes less clear, but often points to the special, the highest, the most valued. Thus, a blue ribbon for first prize, a blue ribbon committee, blue chip stocks, those of the most valuable, most profitable companies, a blue blood patrician, this last said to derive from the veins showing through the skin of fair-complexioned aristocrats. So in the course of physical evolution, mankind has been able to perceive, and so to name, the colors at the warm end of the spectrum before the cool ones. Blue is a latecomer. Homer had no word for blue, referring to the sea as dark. In the majority of the world's languages, the same word means both blue and green. Blue was seldom used in prehistoric art or by non-literate peoples for the lack of the raw materials with which to produce blue pigment. The original ultramarine blue pigment was produced from a finely ground semi-precious stone, lazulite, the source of lapis lazuli, and was so expensive that it was reserved for important paintings and for images of spiritual beauty and perfection. At the same time, blue feels cold. It cools and calms. It is the color of moonlight. Blue light slows the heart rate, lowers blood pressure, and retards the growth of plants. It is the color of bruises, melancholy, isolation, the blues. Pablo Picasso's paintings from his blue period show poor laborers, beggars, cafe sitters in states of lethargy and despair, all painted in blue tones to convey their hunger, cold, and sadness. The blue as a musical form arose from the poor black rural American South and predated jazz music, mixing sadness and humor as the singer laid out his travail. The blue note, a flattened note dropped into a melody in a major key, is a hallmark of jazz, which despite its exuberance still has the ruefulness of the blues. Psychologically, blue can be seen as midway between black despair and the white of hope and clarity, suggesting a state of reflection and detachment. Linked to shadows and darkness, blue brings depth. So that's the energy of your reading today, which is a lot. So I feel like you're working with this energy, and it could be in terms of, so it's coming in here with the new job, career, and new creative ideas, new ventures, a fresh start. So again, because just to link it back to the overall theme, the new materials that you're being given is this, the blue temple. All of this, so it could be, there's always two sides to the coin, right? There's the light aspects and the shadow aspects. They come together always. So it could be that whatever it is, like you're working with loneliness or sadness or a feeling of coldness, right? That could be the shadow aspect. But at the same time, it's giving you all of this sort of like new creative ideas, new ventures, and you have the sunrise card, which is lovely because of the sun, right? So I'm bringing in this orange energy, and the color of that book as well was orange, to sort of balance out the blue, because I feel like that could be a very overwhelming energy to work with, but balancing that out with sort of creativity and inspiration and warmth, right? So there is that kind of aspect coming through for you, group 3. And it's coming through here because the first couple cards we have here are the Tower card and the Red Moon. And this was coming up under a new job or career. So it could feel like some sort of like new inspiration. This portal for the Red Moon is an interesting one where it's kind of like a happy accident, or like something that you kind of come upon by accident. So it could be that something comes in for you where it's like, it feels like not a traditional tower, but it's kind of just like a lightning bolt, new inspiration, something that what feels accidental, but in fact is actually like, so it just feels like inspiration of some sort, which is really interesting because you have here the Page of Materials and the Ace of Voices and the stars, which I love for this to come out because this is the blue energy, right? The stars. Like shooting for the stars, or so it perhaps is something like you stumble upon some sort of new inspiration where it's like something that you perhaps never dreamed of yourself to be doing, especially because it's coming in with a new job or career, but is there's no such thing as coincidences, right? Like this was meant for you. And I feel like it's kind of like providing new inspiration for you to move forward. There's this interesting thing here though with the Ace of Voices is that you are moving forward. You're crossing some sort of finish line with this. This to me always talks about like looking back though, because I feel like whatever it is that this accidental kind of inspiration is, it's like you're moving past that. It's like this was just the inspiring energy to get you started, but it's like you're going to be moving past that, or you're going to be moving forward, but you may be sort of in this like feeling of like looking back at like what you should do next, because what you have up ahead here, you have the Dagger card, which says fear, worries, tense situations, the Bear, and then the Nine of Voices. Like these two came out underneath one another like this, so it's just emphasizing the potential anxiety or fear or worries that you may have about it. And you have here the Bear card, which is interesting because this card talks to me about like somebody wearing a mask, right? Like, it's kind of coming through as being like, you know how depending on which type of bear there is, there's one type of response where you're supposed to like play dead, and then there's one type of response where you're supposed to be bigger, like come in with an attitude of being bigger than the bear, right? That kind of thing. And so there may be worry about that because it's kind of like which response do you choose? Or it could just be like fear of whatever this energy is. I don't know exactly what this is. A potential threat, right? Like perhaps like having nightmares about if you step forward into this new opportunity, like what are you going to find there is kind of how it's coming through here. But what you have next here is that like you have here, so the leg card, which says stepping into a new experience and the wind. Stepping into a new experience and the wind. This wind card has been coming through as being sort of like having allies in the spiritual realms where it's like you have guidance. Like the wind metaphorically is going to show you the way is what's coming through here. So don't be afraid of whatever it is that you're stepping into here with the 9 of Voices. Whatever this bear is, it's kind of like they're wearing a mask. It's not, whatever it is that you're finding frightening about them is not, that's almost like an appearance that they're putting on as well. They're actually much like not as frightening as you think that they are, maybe. Something like that with the leg, stepping into new experiences here. And then you have here next, so the 10 of Materials and the Empress, right? This Empress card talks to me about like, you have every single thing that you need in order to create worlds or abundance or this 10 of Materials, whatever this is. I actually feel like this 10 of Materials might be something outside of you, because this is my personal bias, but generally this 10 of Materials I see is sort of like, looks good on paper, but when you actually start to like look closer at the people in this dynamic, it's like none of them are happy, right? So it's kind of like there's something here about like, it's almost like a dystopian utopia kind of energy. That's what I get with this 10 of Materials. And so that might be tied to the bear, right? And it's kind of coming through here because the next card out you have is the Apple. The temptation will test you in concert with this 10 of Materials. So you may be tempted to perhaps like join some sort of group or dynamic or situation, perhaps as a result of this fear, right? Like this is what's coming through is the temptation, where it's kind of like there's a possibility of like wanting to join this group, but if you look at this group, none of them are happy. None of them are happy is what's coming through here. So it's kind of like it's perhaps better to step into a new experience here with the leg card with the Empress, knowing that you have everything that you need in order to create abundance is what's coming through here. So because underneath the temptation card was this 10 of Swords, which is telling me that if you go into this temptation energy, it's just going to keep you stuck in that place. This 10 of Swords doesn't necessarily have to do with like betrayal or anything like that. It to me just talks about like a place where you're stuck, you can't move, there's no movement. It's just like you're stuck there. So you're moving into something new. There may be fear associated with that, but it's what this bear card is showing me is that whatever it is that you're concerned about, there's it appears to be scarier than it is. They're putting on a mask of fear in order to scare you away from this energy is what's coming through. Whatever this situation is, I don't necessarily feel it's a person, but it's like, it might be for somebody, but like, it's like kind of like you're getting a new job, you're entering into a new workplace, and there's somebody there who's trying to scare you is what's coming through, like scare you off from this. right? But it's kind of like just mind your own business is what's coming through here. Mind your own business. Because you have allies here. You have allies and all of the gifts that you need in order to create your abundance. And we're ending off here with the Fool, right? So it's like you're moving out of this place of stuckness into something new, right? With this blue temple, the stars. This was in group 2 as well. Honestly, this whole reading feels like one extended message where it's kind of like, for the collective, there's a lot of changes happening for those who are choosing to leave behind energies of safety and security, but that safety and security is something that's keeping you from the stars, like reaching abundance, reaching some sort of spiritual transcendence, perhaps, that you are meant to experience as an independent person, as an individual that is apart from some sort of group that you may have been a part of. So, group 3. I'm going to end it there. If this reading resonated with you, please like, subscribe, or leave a comment down below. It helps so much. Thank you for sharing your energy with me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.